Hello, everybody. Am I back to doing that? I guess I am. At least today I am. Uh, it's been a rough month in a lot of ways. But, I saw that Scott over at Prog Corner posted 10 things that he likes, in lieu of Thanksgiving. So that seemed like a good idea. It might be positive to reflect on some things that I appreciate in this world and bring that forward as well. So this isn't going to really be a vinyl sharing video, just a quick rundown of 10 things I like. So we'll start with number 10. As you can tell by this double chin and me having pretty much doubled my size in the course of a decade, literally, I went from 127 to over 200 pounds. I like food. I like food very much, and that's one of the reasons that my slogan is "Life is Pizza, Send Records," because pizza is probably one of my favorite things in the world, at least if it's decent pizza. I'm also very fond of blueberries and anything blueberry related, and really, really rich dark chocolate. And of course, I like other things like steak. I love Cuban food. I'm just glad there's food. Kind of relatable. I'll follow that with coffee. People will sometimes see me with these and think that I've got a soda. This is not a soda. This is me being a problem coffee drinker. There's no sugar in this. There's no artificial sweetener in this. There's no milk in this. This is just black ice coffee. Number 8. I like theme parks and attractions. I'm not a fan of thrill rides. I never was a big fan of thrill rides. I don't like high places very much. But I do love simulation. I like things like soaring. I love dark rides that have theatrics and animatronics and mood lighting and music and weirdness about them. And it doesn't necessarily have to be particular to a brand. I would love to check out the Sanrio Park. I would love to check out, which is in Japan. It's a Hello Kitty themed thing. I'd love to check out all of the Disney parks around the world, which have a lot of things that are more cultural specific to their areas. I'd love to check out some of the world's worst theme parks. I actually remember fondly me and my friends getting a kick out of a really, I think it's terrible place called South of the Border, which the most amusing thing about it is it has this really terrible stereotype Mexican figurine that faces the highway at the front of it, and in the back of the place, I don't know if it's still there, but there used to be kind of a scrap yard where these things were made out of metal, and as they would start to break down, they just replaced them and take all the limbs, torsos, and heads of the old one and throw them into this scrap yard and let them rust away in the sun. And that was more fascinating than the actual park, to just go by and look at that. It's just all these Pedros baking in the sun. So yeah, I love all things theme parks though. Universal Studios, which I haven't been to in quite a number of years. And Disney. I grew up with Disney. I remember when I was a kid going to Silver Springs in Florida and riding in the glass bottom boats, going to zoos, any kind of interesting places and unique locations like that. I just love that kind of stuff. But I really love entertainment complexes most, so that's kind of where my heart is with attractions, is in theme parks. Okay, the next one, some people will say, well, you're lumping things around twice. You kind of put food together as a thing, and so you could have said, well, I like chocolate, that's one. I like blueberries, that's two. No, I'm not going to do that. But this, as much as I like different forms of entertainment, different types of movies and everything, this I'm putting in a category entirely by itself. if nothing else, out of direct gratitude for the cast and crew. I won't go into details, but I went through some really, really, really harsh times in life over a decade ago, and I came away from it with PTSD. And prior to those times, and during those times, and after those times, and to this day, I still am able to combat anxiety and stress through the amusement and the magic of Mystery Science Theater 3000. Joel and the Bots, Mike and the Bots, Jonah and the Bots, whoever is there with the Bots. And separate from this, cinematic Titanic, riff tracks, all of it, everything that they've done and continue to do. It's a world to me, and I'll sometimes go to sleep to this stuff. It helps me to shake off the day and enjoy movies that I grew up with in a different light than the usual way. Because me and my friends, we used to do that growing up. We would be gathered around watching terrible movies on television or at the drive-in theater and just riffing on them like that the whole way. And I mean, there's things where that's kind of the standard, like Rocky Horror Picture Show, but that's more like riffing that's planned. This was just more like we're just having fun with it, and it's real time. And you get that sense of that being there, even though they're writing the material and watching the movie 8 or 9 times in advance to put together a show. It has that vibe, and it feels like there's a presence in the room with you of people that are friends. And it's a good feeling, and it's a fun show, and the sketches are marvelous, and you can't help but love the characters, and the cast and the crew just do such a remarkable job on those things. And I'm sad that a couple of years ago, apparently, with crowdfunding falling through, it ended apparently permanently this time. But every episode will live on infinitely, and I mean, I have a lot of episodes because I was one of the guys that was circulating the tapes, and you can bet the tapes that I had wound up ripped to DVD. So I actually have a couple of the Godzillas, I have the KTMAs. I love Mystery Science Theater 3000. Alright, so we're 4 down, I believe, so that puts us at number 6, and I already mentioned theme parks, but I'm going to expound upon that and say all things Disney. I can't keep the tchotchkes anymore, but I make sure that, if I run across any, I'm going to have them there so that my son can have them. I have a great niece out there that was with me from childhood that, if I saw things that I thought she would like coming out, I would try and have things available for her. And she's been doing that as well. She got him a plush recently. So that's a marvelous thing. Disney is more than just a brand. It's almost a culture. I worked for the company. I worked in the parks for a short time. I was a vacation planner from home for the company for a short time. Well, actually for a decent time, for close to 6-7 years, I think I did that. When COVID came along, the parks closed and I had to move on and find something else to do. And that's how I wound up in the Sprinter that I'm in right now. But I was an annual pass holder at the Walt Disney World theme park for a number of years, probably at least 10 years, broken up with some separation. I haven't been for a few years, but so far as it goes, when you know the property like the back of your hands, when you know the resorts, when you know all of the transportation, how to find your way around, you don't even have to go in the parks. You can just spend all day hopping around from resort to resort and enjoying the gardening and the landscaping and the architecture and the art and things that the casts are doing, members are doing for show. Like going over to the Animal Kingdom Lodge, you could catch storytelling drum circle. You might find, knife jugglers or or chair stackers or something going on over at one of the other resorts. They used to have a big band, which they no longer have at the Grand Floridian, but they have a pianist that comes in and plays music in the lobby there that's very good. And it's all just so very atmospheric and immersive. And I love collecting the records, including vintage ones, and the movies and the shorts, and all of the stuff that has to do with, the characters from the vintage ones to the current ones. And about the point that I'm thinking, yeah, it's going to start to get stale, something will come along like Moana and just knock my socks off. So, yeah, I have a tendency to love all things Disney, and usually find something to appreciate even in the ones that I thought were not that super spectacular. There'll be something in the movie that I'll go, yeah, it's okay. Yeah, that was fun. I could watch that one again later on. So, yeah, Disney is a biggie for me. A real biggie. All right, next up, well, we covered Disney movies through Disney in general and Mystery Science Theater 3000. This relates to Mystery Science Theater 3000, but goes above and beyond that. I love weird genre films. Exploitation films of various kinds. At the top of the list, creature features. I don't like them if they're very serious. They can be gruesome, violent, over the top, insane, nasty, disgusting, not suitable for anyone. Because I grew up in the 80s, so I'm familiar with and have a love for all things European import. Give me the films of, rather than Hollywood, Paul Naschy as Waldemar Doninsky the werewolf, or the Hunchback of the Morgue, or as Count de Marnac in Horror Rises from the Tomb. Give me the Templar Knights and the Blind Dead films. Give me Lucio Fulci's zombie films and Dario Argento's colorful giallo thrillers. That kind of stuff really, really, really makes me happy. Spanish and Italian films particularly, but I also have a great love for spaghetti westerns and Hong Kong martial arts films, both the Shaw Brothers variety from the 70s and from the mid to late 80s until now, the graduation into the more fantastical, wire-worked fantasy films that have come out of Hong Kong over the years. Kaiju films with Godzilla, and from Korea, things like Thunder of Gigantic Serpent. Just give me all that stuff. I just have so much fun with that stuff. And I even like the 60s, the gothic thrillers, the Antonio Margheriti and Mario Bava films with Barbara Steele, like The Long Hair of Death and Black Sunday, which is also called The Mask of Satan. Some of this stuff is really artsy, some of it is really crappy, and I love all that stuff. I love all of it. I just don't like films that are extraordinarily serious and become overwhelming in their violence in a way that becomes convincing, believable, or worrisome. And it's kind of hard to trigger me in that way. Most of the stuff just doesn't bother me. Zombies are not lurching into the backyard. But I'm not a person who's going to sit down and for anybody that's heard of it, I'll never watch Serbian film. I just know that's not my cup of tea. It's not my thing. It's not something that I want to see or put myself through. I like it ridiculous enough for me to dismiss it. Give me Nightmare City, aka City of the Walking Dead. Give me City of the Living Dead, the Fulci one. Give me I can't pronounce it, Plesioteshi, or the police chase films. Give me Eurospy films. Give me Peplum, which is sword and sandal, like old Hercules meets the Moon Men, with all the glamorous women that look like Elizabeth Taylor clones, and bad hand puppet dragons for Machiste to battle and things like that. That stuff's all just absolutely great and so much fun. Number 4, music. Music is food to me. I don't know if I would have survived this world if it were not for music. Music is a language in and of itself. Most people, they say, oh, I like music. Well, what do you listen to? I listen to everything. Okay. So, everything like what? And they'll come at you like, oh, you know, everything. Like Leonard Skinner, Pink Floyd, everything. Or, you know, Backstreet Boys, you know, Justin Bieber, everything. I'm the guy that'll pretty much literally listen to everything at least once. I may like it, I may not like it, but I'll at least scope it out. And I find stuff that I like in pretty much all genres, which makes it fun to sort of trace things. If you go into my collection, I have a lot of records predating 1920 because I think some of those little vaudeville songs are really interesting. My favorite genres of music are typically going to be classical and progressive art rock and metal. And the metal is usually not so much hair metal, but stuff that is on the edgy, more serious side, ranging from Black Sabbath to death metal. And with death metal, I'm not really like a super big fan of gore metal lyrics, but I do like the stuff that's sort of thematically horror more than just corny Satan stuff, and stuff that's political, like Coroner, I think has some interesting lyrics and typically is not going into all of that. And I like it because it's very technical, the way that progressive art rock was. When I say I like all genres of music, I mean I like a lot of different things in different genres, and I like exploring global music. So I have music from all over the world. I'm very fond of film music. I've done a couple of low-budget film scores. I love bop jazz from the late 50s, early 60s. There's a lot of big band stuff that I like. There's a lot of doo-wop that I like, a lot of 60s soul and psychedelic stuff that I like, a lot of 70s progressive art rock and classic rock, a lot of funk, a little bit of disco, a little bit of rap. I'm fond of things from different eras of rap. So I mean, if people go, oh, well, what era did you get into in rap, and when you moved on, what did you... No, I don't move on from things. I'm always willing to explore new things. So, you know, I've got a couple of 50 Cent albums. I've got a couple of Snoop Dogg albums. I've got a couple of Will Smith albums. I'm very fond of Nucleus Jam on Revenge. I'm very fond of Melly Mel and Grandmaster Flash. I was absolutely excited for my birthday one year to get the Fat Boys album. You know, at the same time, you know, that I was into Fat Boys, I was also into Twisted Sister. Today I like a lot of things. I like Coroner. I like old bands like Paradise Lost and My Dying Bride that were doomy. I like symphonic metal. I like bands that combine folk elements like Bloodywood, mashing up hip-hop with traditional Indonesian music and positive messaging and a heavy edge. I love Baroque classical and novelty songs. And so my first hero in novelty music was not Weird Al Yankovic. It was Peter Schickele, who made light of classical music with a project called PDQ Bach. And I'm really still very fond of all that stuff and have a number of albums. So yeah, music that's all over the place. And people go, well, obviously he doesn't like country. Well, Marty Robbins, Ronnie Millsap. There's a few. So and onesie twosie songs, one-offs. Not so much of the modern stuff. But yeah, there's stuff out there that I like from almost everything. Favorites are probably prog and the heavy stuff, and classical though, and Disney tunes. There's a lot of show tune kind of stuff that I really appreciate as well. Number 3, collecting and treasure hunting. Because if you're into movies, if you're into music, and you like artwork, and you like memorabilia, and you like comics, and you like things that are spooky, and you like things that represent Christmas and Valentine's Day and Halloween, it's always fun to pick up knickknacks and tchotchkes, though I can't keep those things anymore, and all things related. Right now I limit myself to basically the occasional theatrical marquee one sheet, to having a bunch of fanzines and books on the topic of such things, to having some comics. I especially love either cute kids comics that are like Disney or Casper or Warner characters, and things that are like anthology horror omnibus, like House of Mystery and so forth. The Witching Hour is one of my favorites. Collecting vinyl, of course, and for some reason that odd attraction to picture discs and colored vinyl, which may not be the most viable source of getting something that's going to be for the audio fidelity egghead, but I love the packaging, and to me that's half the fun as well. So I don't mind taking a slight hit on sound quality for some things to have an edition that has a bit of a pop visually, just to make it more fun and interesting. So yeah, collecting and going out and going to thrifts and digging through yard sales and just finding things and doing curb rescues, and in the process of that, digging through and finding and discovering new things that I liked that I didn't know existed before, stumbling across stuff by accident and going, oh, what's this, and giving it a listen or a look. Because typically I'm looking at either records or CDs or DVDs or Blu-rays, and those are the main things that I'm out there looking at. Number 2, pets. Having animals around. I've had pets and had animals around my whole life, and you see my sort of video mascot Bob, who actually passed away a couple of years ago, but I make sure that he's seen in each video, and I use his image in the title cards to keep his memory alive. He was with me for 20 plus years, and of all the different four-legged companions that I've had around, he was the one that really, really wedged a place in my heart, more than any that I've had. I love them all very much, but that one in particular was something really special. And I have two running around now, that have been great companions and that I love having around. So you hear footsteps and maybe see a tail go by now and then in a video still. They get us through the madness in life. Their love is unconditional, and their companionship is irreplaceable. Each and every one of them is just a unique soul, and they're just wonderful to have around, and they're family as much as any of our other family is. So yes, I love cats and dogs, and our pets are priceless. There's nothing that can ever replace them. Number 1 would be my family, my human family. The woman in my life and my son, who both mean just absolutely the world to me, and my great niece. She's just out there just taking on the world, and she's done incredibly well, and I'm very proud of her. And my son just amazes and delights me every single day. He's 2. It's just every day is magical to be around them, and I prize them more than anything in the world. And the only things that really matter over any of this stuff is their safety and well-being and their happiness. So if I can give them that, then in any way, then life is tops. I was going to call it there, but I can't. I have to add a bonus, just one more, and that's you guys. You know, the vinyl community, the YouTube community, for giving me an outlet, giving me a place to voice myself, for being supportive, for, you know, checking out my collection and showing me your collections. And it's been nice to have an outlet with people that understand our love of all this stuff, you know. And it is just stuff, but it's stuff that people have put their hearts and souls into the creation of, and it tracks our history and our humanity, and it's more than stuff in that way. It's art, and that's what makes it special. And it's always special to be able to share art with other people who are enthusiasts. So thank you for allowing me to be a part of that. I'm really grateful for that. So happy Thanksgiving, everybody, and we'll see you again real soon.